What's happening, good people? Welcome to the Wealth 100 Show. I'm your host, George Gilmore, and it's go time. Listen, guys, each week we bring on six-figure professionals and entrepreneurs who are winning in life and business. If you're ready to take your life to the next level, you found the right place. I need you to get into the room right now, guys. I'm putting you in the room with winners that will help push you towards your dreams. Finally, if you want to grow your business, grow your network, and live your dreams to the fullest, I encourage you to apply to the Wealth 100 Mastermind at thewealth100.com, where lives are being transformed through self-development and access to wealth-building opportunities. Welcome to the Wealth 100 Show. Let's go. Yo, what's happening, guys? Welcome to the Wealth 100 Show. We want to thank our special guest today, Mr. Eric Neal, Coach Eric Neal from Atlanta, Georgia, for showing up to bless you guys with some good information here. Eric is the founder of Elite E-Commerce, Elite E-Coaching, and Loved to Love nonprofit in Atlanta, Georgia. What's going on, Mr. Neal? Talk to me, my friend.
What's up, sir? How you been?
I'm doing all right, my friend.
Here.
Look, we finally got you on here, man. Been wanting to get you on this show and tell the people about yourself, man. We're going to start off slow. Listen, let me say this first before we start off here. This guy is a master in, how do I call it, Eric? Online marketplace marketing. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, with e-commerce. Correct.
With e-commerce in the Amazon space, in the Walmart space. I personally know him. I've done some business with him. He can show you how to get to some money. How about that, E? he can show you how to get to some money. Listen, man, tell the people about yourself. Talk to me. Tell them a little bit about you, who you are.
So I'm Coach Eric Neal. I'm originally from Orlando, Florida. I am a husband of one, but father of five. I have to be specific with that. And long story short, I stepped out into the entrepreneur world it's been right at 9 years.
Okay.
And I came out of corporate America working for AT&T fresh out of college, in which I went to Georgia Southern University. Mm-hmm. And I worked at AT&T for about 7 years. And I decided, you know what? Corporate was not for me. Yes, because I was making them billions of dollars and I did not get paid 1% of that. Mm-hmm. But I was making sure that they had everything they needed. I was working myself to death while, they was paying me pennies.
I got you.
So, yes, sir.
Look, man, well, take us back to the beginning. We know you know how to get to the money, but take us back to the beginning. Tell me about little Eric Neal in Florida.
So little Eric Neal in Florida. So I'm the youngest of three boys, huge in sports, which I grew up in the metropolitan Orlando area. Most people may have heard of Zora Neale Hurston. Yes. And the town of Eatonville. Mm-hmm. I grew up around that area. So I grew up playing football. I love sports. I love the Lord. My parents, they made sure we stayed in the church and understood, the principles of the Bible and also lived by it as well.
Yes, sir.
Huge family, man. I have a ton of cousins. And then we ended up moving to Metro Atlanta in the early 90s.
Okay.
In which I had a culture shock. Coming from Florida.
What was that? What was that shock, sir?
So my first day of school, I'll never forget this. I was in the 7th grade. Coming from Orlando, the way you have black, white, Hispanic, some Asian. But then I came to the east side of Atlanta, and it was nothing but black folk.
Yes, sir.
In which for me, it was cool once I got used to it, but I wasn't used to it at first because I walked into the school. And I'm like, man, everybody is black. And then I'm like, wait a minute, why are there security guards here? Then I'm like, oh my God, they got metal detectors. Like, what's going on? So, me, and this is a 12-year-old me coming from Central Florida where everything is just laid back.
Right.
So, but I ended up loving it. I'm so glad my parents moved here. I cried initially when we first moved here because I did not want to move to Georgia. I thought the Klan was prevalent here.
Okay.
And, coming as a little kid, I ain't know no better. So, yeah, but I'm glad my parents moved us here. And literally, it was a God thing. It was one of the best decisions they could have done for me, themselves, and my two older brothers.
Okay. So you said that you went to, take me back to college. You went to Georgia Southern. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Georgia Southern University.
Talk to me about how did you end up there, and talk to me about that experience.
Okay, so I ended up at Georgia Southern initially to play football, in which I got there in '99 and we won 2 national championships. So I came there to play football.
Okay.
Lo and behold, in 2001, I met the Lord, like for real, legit this time, not,
Yes,
growing up being churchy, but I got saved for real in January of '01, and I decided to leave football. And I ended up, getting involved with campus ministries. I became a campus pastor and, was leading a lot of different Bible studies and just telling people my story and let me back up a little bit. I thought I was a ladies' man.
Okay.
So
now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. And with that, and this is not to brag, but to testify where God brought me from.
Yes, sir.
I used to think that I had to be with somebody's daughter, if not every night, every other night. And I had a whole rotation, which is not good, but I thank God for salvation.
Yeah. Atlanta got a hold of you, huh?
Well, yeah.
But anyway, so you enjoyed yourself.
I met the Lord and all that went out the window. So it was easy to tell people my story because when they saw the change, they was like, wait a minute, what's different about you? You're not, partying all the time no more, messing with all these women. What's the deal?
Yes, sir.
And then I began to tell them, I realized that, those natural things were not satisfying me, who was an eternal being.
Yes, sir.
And when I met something that was eternal, it was a no-brainer. I got fulfilled.
Okay.
So, and with me just being real and telling people my story, I didn't realize, like, I kept leading people to the Lord over and over and over again. So anyway, so that's what happened with that. And then became a college campus pastor. I got married and ended up having 2 kids with my now ex-wife.
Okay.
A few years later, got remarried to my permanent wife. And now we have a total of 5 children together.
Okay, man. Listen, Mr.
Sir.
Father, the pastor, the father, the whole 9, huh? I love it, brother. Listen, so
Yes,
when you finished college, you said you came out and you started working for AT&T immediately?
AT&T, yes,
okay,
sir.
What was that job? What were you doing in particular?
So I was called first I started off in the small business department, and I was a trainer. Go figure, still coaching people.
Right. You set the foundation back then, sir.
I had no idea. That's the funny thing. And it's funny how it all just comes full circle. But I was a trainer teaching the small business department in Atlanta, how to deal with customers, how to sell, customer service, all of the above. Now, with me having good morals and everything, and I don't mind saying this now because I don't really have too much affiliation with a lot of them, they demoted me because I would not lie, because I would not cheat, or I would not do the things that they wanted me to kind of fabricate numbers. So I got demoted. Now, little did I know that demotion was actually a blessing because I ended up getting transferred into a completely different department to where now I was a client support specialist, and I started dealing with certain clients like Turner Broadcasting, Time Warner, Northrop Grumman, who does the military weapons, Auto Nation, Royal Caribbean, and Georgia and Florida Power. Yes. And with all of those companies, I was literally helping to bring AT&T billions of dollars. And that's not to brag, but it's like, oh my God, I was making them all this money. But again, I wasn't getting paid 1% of that. I remember doing the math one time, and I got paid 0.00000, like 6 zeros, like 72%.
Yes, sir.
I was making somewhere close to about like a little over 70 to 80,000, which is okay if you were a single man in Atlanta, in the mid 2000s. But however, we were a household of 7. Yeah. So we were still living paycheck to paycheck.
I got you.
So I decided I was never really fulfilled being there. So I decided to venture into personal training, which that just kind of happened. I was working out in the gym, and a lady walked up to me and was like, "Hey, I like how your arms look. You mind training me?" So I was like, "Sure." So I trained her. She was like, "Oh, and by the way, I'll pay you." I was going to train a lady for free. I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize I could make money for that."
Right.
So I ended up training her. And as I'm training her, other people watched me train her. And then lo and behold, now I have a whole clientele training people. I wasn't even certified at this time.
Wow.
So then I decided to go and get certified. And, the money was flowing in pretty good from there. And then a buddy of mine introduced me to a business opportunity. So money is flowing with personal training. I'm still working at AT&T, and I got this business opportunity. And I just felt the need. I was like, man, I'm tired of corporate. I'm not doing this no more. So I decided to quit, cash out of all my 401k, invest almost every drop into this business. Mm-hmm. And the Thursday before the Tuesday, this is important, that I was set to get paid $41,000 in payouts. Mm-hmm. That company filed for bankruptcy.
Intentional.
I was sick to my stomach. Yeah. And I remember seeing it and I got the email. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to tell my wife? Because I pretty much invested all of my savings, had just walked away from, my job that I had for 7 years. And now we got all of these kids. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do? So then my wife, she's like, look, we're young. And I thank God for my wife, Sharice. Oh my goodness. She's such a godsend. She's not only beautiful, she's intelligent and a motivator. She's like, look, we're young. God got us, get up. Let's figure this out together. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, cool. So I started working just to kind of make ends meet at the local Kohl's in the intimates department, dealing with bras and panties, the weirdest thing ever. So I'll tell too many people this story. So once the old women, because old women come in there all the time trying to get sized up. Mm-hmm. And me being a man with old women, they trying to figure out, well, am I a C cup, a D cup? What am I? And I got to, I didn't touch them, but I was like, you may be about a C plus.
Oh my God.
That's not size, but, a double D or something like that. So anyway, long story short, I fast forward. A buddy of mine who knew this gentleman who actually did Flip This House, Armando Montalongo. I don't know if you guys remember that TV show, Flip This House.
Yeah,
he introduced me to him. Yeah, and the rest is history. I started going out and traveling and training his students. He took me under his wing, which taught me the importance of having a mentor and mentorship, and also knowing somebody who was above me financially, mm-hmm. who was able to show me the roadmap on how to be successful, not just in life, but in business. Yeah. I didn't realize how important that was until I met him. So I was traveling with him for a little over 2 years, literally 48 weeks out of the year. I was in a different city or country helping to train the students. And then I stumbled upon e-commerce, and which I didn't even know people could actually sell products on Amazon. I thought it was just all Amazon.
Okay.
And then once I learned that business, literally when I tell you the rest is history, because I started making money instantly. And then same deal. Somebody reached out to me, was like, hey, I see you making money on Amazon. It was one of my friends. He was like, my brother's getting ready to get laid off. You mind showing him how to sell on Amazon? Sure. Here I go again. I was willing to do it for free. And then he was like, oh, by the way, he'll pay you. I said, oh, okay, cool. So I trained him how to sell on Amazon. By his second month, he was doing about $5,000 a month. And I'm like, wow. I'm really good at doing this.
Right.
And little did I know, I ended up from there. Somebody else reached out to me, and I have trained well over 300 plus students. And a few of them actually made over $1 million selling on Amazon. So I'm super duper thankful for that. In which now I ended up launching Elite E-commerce coaching. So okay. Yes, sir.
So take me back. Let's go back to let's start at the coaching business itself. So what does that look like for you on a daily basis?
So a daily basis, because I have different types of students. I do have some students who did the one-on-one mentorship, in which I do a ton of follow-up calls with them. So I'm on Zoom meetings, maybe about 2 or 3 hours throughout the day. Matter of fact, I had 3 Zoom meetings this morning, helping people create listings, helping them with certain issues that they might have. And then after those meetings are done and making sure that they are still rocking and rolling in their store, I'll go and knock out some of my own orders, because I not only teach this business, I do the business myself, which a lot of people can't say that. If you look at most so-called gurus who are on Amazon or with Walmart Marketplace, Yeah, they'll say, yeah, we're teaching all these people how to do this, but hardly none of them actually do the business themselves. They're just reading a script.
Right. They're in the teaching business.
I'm actively involved in this business.
I got you.
I'm sorry, say again?
I said they're just in the teaching information business, pretty much.
Correct. Instead of the implementation application. What I think the Apostle Paul said, preach, teach, demonstrate.
There you go.
Yeah, that's kind of my motto. So,
because I know when I met you, you were doing a lot of traveling with the training. Are you still traveling like that now?
I'm traveling, but not as much. And that's mainly because I decided to put my course online. So now, like the training that you had.
Stop. How do you always skip my questions? That was the next question I was going to ask you about the platform. But anyway, let's talk about the online platform. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So my bad.
Oh, you're good, bro. You're good.
So yeah, I decided to put my course online because I realized a lot of people, even though they wanted to do the one-on-one mentorship training, they could not afford it. Because I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not the cheapest, but I like to say that I am the best in the business. Yes. But some people couldn't pay a few $1,000s to do the one-on-one mentorship, to pay to fly me out, to train a one-on-one in their own city. So after speaking to my wife and a few of my, close counterparts, including yourself, I decided to put the course online. And from doing that online, it just became even better because now it's affordable, it's self-paced, and people, they can get a lot of the same information and they can take it and run with it. Now, of course, my elite advanced students, they get the coach. Mm-hmm. So, it's different versus having the playbook, which is, I like to say, the online training versus the coach and the playbook.
What's the cost what's the cost for the one-on-one versus the online course?
All right, so the one-on-one training, it starts off right at $16,997, so roughly 17 grand. And the online course, I'm doing a special right now because of everything that's going on in society. And I just want people to have just a little bit of skin in the game and to also be self-sufficient. It's at $79 right now.
79? Yeah,
yes, sir. You heard that correct.
Yeah, you're giving it away at 79 because nobody's selling a $79 course right now. Okay. Where can they find that? Where can they find it?
Say that again?
Where can they find it?
So they can find it. You can find it on social media through, you can look up Coach Eric, ERIC Neal, Neal on Instagram. And the link is in the bio. Or you can go to Facebook and pull up Eric Neal and the same thing. It's all over the place. You can't miss it. That's the best way to get it, which is through social media.
Okay. Well, talk to me a little bit about building out the online platform. Talk to me about that process. What did that look like for you?
Whew, okay.
Yeah. So I'm in the middle of doing it. Yes, sir.
Oh, so then yes. Not only is it timely, you have to be very strategic. And what I mean by that is it's one thing to think something, but it's another thing to actually say it. Because a lot of things and a lot of times, because you're not able to read people's emotions, because it's just you talking to a computer the majority of the time when you're building out that platform. So it's knowing what to say and, kind of pre-thinking what somebody would respond to based off of the information that I'm giving them. That's the first thing. Yes, now, the hardest part about it, because I'm doing it all myself, is the editing. It might be a 20-minute module, but within the 20 minutes, it might take about 2 to 3 hours just to edit that one 20-minute module. Now, I have within my training, right at about 20 modules.
Okay.
So you can imagine how many hours I put in just on editing, not even building out, the different slides and the different things that I'm going to put together for it. But altogether, it literally took me about a year to really get the course set and established to where I'm like, okay, this course is now complete. You guys can take it and run with it.
I got you.
But it was, I want to say, one of the hardest things I had to do. And it was a ton of learning curves as well, because I didn't know anything about video editing. I didn't know anything about putting a course online. I didn't know anything about certain systems like Camtasia or Samcart, so that people can use their credit or debit cards to, do a subscription or certain things like that. I had no idea. I had to learn that stuff. I had to research it. I wish I had somebody who already knew that pathway and I could have just paid them to do it. But I'll be honest, I was being a little cheap at the moment. What I did is figure it out. But however, it took me a while to figure it out. And now it's rolled out. And now people, they're taking it and they're making money from it.
So talk to me a little bit about, I know you were telling me earlier that you have some plans to scale the business offline with some seminars and speaking and whatnot. Talk to me about that space now. Where are we going with that?
Yes, sir. So I'm getting ready to launch elite e-commerce seminars in which it will be traveling to different cities and training people in their city, in different hotels, different event spaces, so that I can be hands-on and also the people can be hands-on on how to sell on Amazon and how to find products and sell them on Walmart Marketplace as well. Now, part of that training is taking people into retail stores as well and walking them through how to actually source inventory. Because it's one thing to be on a Zoom call. It's another thing to be right there in person so that you can interact with them. And, you know, without, and I know a lot of speakers will say this, but jokingly, so that they can be in the spit zone, you know, close enough to where, you know, spit fly out of your mouth, you know, you'll be able to touch them. So it's a complete difference with having somebody in front of you versus the online platform. And that's the reason why I decided to launch the online platform. Also, mainly because, you know, I thank God for my wife. She's like, look, I should have been doing this years ago. You also told me I should have been doing this years ago. So here I am finally stepping out on it to launch elite e-commerce seminars.
Gotcha.
And it will be coming to a city near you, in which we will start in Atlanta. And we're going to grow and expand from there. So from Atlanta, you better believe I am coming to North Carolina. And then we're going to continue to spread out as far west as Honolulu, Hawaii, and as far east as London, England. And if we have to go up to Alaska, we'll go to Alaska as well, because we don't mind traveling and making this thing happen.
I love it. Let's back up for a moment. Let's go back to mentorship. You talked about working with Armando. Talk to me some more about mentorship. Have you had any other mentors who have been significant in your growth?
Yes, I have. And without sugarcoating it, you was one of them.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah. And in more ways than you know. And what I realized is just watching how you move. That was one thing that was huge for me. And so that was one area. I've had a few other mentors in different businesses that I do that have, you know, showed me the way. And not just through business, but also through just being able to structure out my life. Because with running all these different businesses, having a very demanding wife, father of 5, in which I'm coaching different sports. Like I pretty much coach all of their sporting teams, from track to football to soccer. I did it all. I was coaching them all. I still coach them all. But just being able to structure my day out, I had different mentors. One of them in particular, I'm going to say Nathan, which is a good buddy of mine. Matter of fact, we went to Georgia Southern together. He was a mentor for me as well, in which he showed me so many things business-wise. Another guy by the name of Kevin. And for privacy purposes, I won't give their last names. But yeah, also showed me a lot of stuff business-wise. You know, of course, you know yourself. Just, you know, showing me, look, I need to grow and expand, you know, don't be afraid. Like, this is you got this, you already have it. And most importantly, my main mentor, and this may sound funny, even though she is my helpmeet, my wife.
Got you.
Because she has encouraged me probably more than anybody else in my life. Now, my parents, of course, they've always been an encouragement. But my wife, she has not only been an encourager, but a helpmeet as well.
I got you. Let's talk a little bit about Masterminds. Eric is a member of the Wealth 100 Mastermind. I didn't say that earlier, but he is a member of our group. And I think June 24th, June 25th, we will be in Atlanta, guys, with our Wealth 100 Mastermind, somewhere in Buckhead, somewhere, I believe. And Eric, I think you probably will be coaching that weekend. Is that correct, sir?
Okay.
Yes, sir. That is absolutely correct. Yeah, I think that's what we want to do. So Atlanta, you guys need to come out if you want to learn how to do online products and services on Amazon and Walmart. Eric will be coaching June 24, June 25 in Atlanta in the Buckhead area. We hadn't locked in the hotel yet, but we will be there. So talk to people about being in the mastermind, of what that feels like for you.
Whew. Oh man, that's a loaded question. So let me first say the mastermind has expanded my way of thinking. I did not realize, and I thought I was pretty successful at first, how closed-minded I was until I got around other people who thought differently and who knew stuff that I did not know. Since joining the Wealth 100, in which that was, when was that? Was that July of last year?
July was the first time you came. Yes, that was the first time.
Okay, yeah. So July of
end of June.
Year,
it was the last weekend of June, to be exact. Last
weekend of June. Yeah. I do recall that now. Yes. So since joining the Wealth 100, being around these gentlemen who have literally a wealth of information, education, and just business mindsets, I was able to launch 2 other businesses because of what I heard through the Wealth 100. One of them in particular is one that cash flows me right at about $1,400 a month. And all I do is just sit down and maybe put in about maybe 3 to 5 minutes a day managing that business. That's one of them. And plus, I'm now launching another business from that as well, in which, again, from being around the gentleman at the Wealth 100, it's a no-brainer. Also, being around the Wealth 100 helped me to realize the importance of getting my courses online, in which now that I've gotten it online, I mean, it allowed me to be places that I would not normally be able to go into. So now I can have somebody get trained in the middle of Joplin, Missouri, and without even stepping foot there. But the Wealth 100 helped me to realize, look, man, you can put your wisdom on a training platform and push it out there. The Wealth 100 also helped me with accountability. Oh my goodness. I didn't realize how much I struggled with time management until I start, being around people in the Wealth 100, talking more with you, even with times of discouragement, because, hey, being an entrepreneur, you have a lot of highs and you might have some lows. You have a ton of valleys and a lot of mountaintops. It's a roller coaster. But sometimes those lows can get very low. And I remember just recently, and I'm thankful for you, I reached out to you and it might have been 10 o'clock at night, might have even been 10:30 at night. And you were available to talk to me, to encourage me. And that spoke volumes to me. And without being in Wealth 100, to be honest, I don't know if I would have even been in the facility to have access to that. And that not only pushed me. So now once I was encouraged, I was now able to go out and love on somebody and encourage the next person. In which that's also, and I know we didn't get into that, but yeah, but I'm part of something to where I'm not able to give back and, and help the next person come up.
Listen, I thank you for that commercial. I thank you for that commercial, Eric. But listen, guys, seriously, we are going to be in Atlanta, June 24th, June 25th. If you're that 6-figure professional and you want to leave the professional space, or you want to stay in the professional space, but you want to do something in the entrepreneurship space, you might want to come to that event. If you're an entrepreneur and you need to go to another level, you might want to come to that event. That's June 24th, June 25th. And it's not might want to come, you do want to come. If you feel like you're on that island alone, I'm telling you, the Wealth 100 Mastermind is the place you need to be. You need to get into the room. Last call for the advertisement. Let's move on to personal, Eric. Let's move on to personal. Talk to me about staying focused on your goals, sir. How do you do that?
Whew. Oh man, I have to draw out a schedule every day, and in which I also tell my wife what my schedule is, because she helps me stay on track. But in order for me to get everything done and accomplish that I do, from the different businesses that I run, from even with stuff like, we have a nonprofit that does a lot of nonprofit work, mentoring people, coaching my son's sports, even sometimes coming home to cook, maintaining my own wealth and my own mindset. It's literally sticking to a strict schedule. And I know a lot of people, especially being an entrepreneur, I was real fluid with my schedules at time because I'm like, look, I don't have to clock into a 9 to 5 no more. So, I wake up when I want to, go to bed when I want to. And which that was working for a little while until I started getting more and more on my plate. Then I realized, I might need to schedule again. So now I make sure I wake up at a certain time and I try my best. And again, I'm going to word it as I try my best to make sure that I go to bed at a certain time too. That's super duper important, which is making sure that you're sticking to a schedule. But because for me, sticking to a schedule says, look, wake up at 6:30 or 6 o'clock, get refreshed, spend time with God. And then once I ended up spending time with God, boom, I got my word for the day. I know what God wants me to do. Now, let me go ahead and eat. Let me maybe work out. Let me jump into some coaching calls. Let me knock out some orders. Let me not go to practice to coach my sons. Let me, help out with the nonprofit. Let me get dinner ready. Boom. Let me chill with my wife for a little while. Maybe watch a TV show or two, in which I don't watch much TV. And then pray again at night, go to bed, rinse and repeat. That's pretty much been my life. In which for some people that might sound boring, but my life is so fulfilled. That's the main thing. Like I'm totally fulfilled, especially being able to coach my sons, like football teams and track teams. And, and I'm out of the Fayetteville, Georgia area. So, I'm one of the coaches on the Sandy Creek High School track team, in which, we're getting ready to run state this year. And it feels good to be able to say that, to say, I'm part of a group that's helping these young men and women win state. So but again, I all can say, I would not be able to do none of this if I did not have some type of structure and accountability with my structure. Because my wife, she'll be quick to be like, hey, what are you doing on social media? What should you be doing right now? And here I am in my phone, just scrolling away, scrolling, laughing at pictures. Let me see what Gilmore doing with the Wealth 100, which is good, by the way. Scrolling. And then my wife's like, you need to do that a little bit later. Stick to your schedule.
I like the part where you talked about accountability. You got an accountability partner with your wife right there. But the best thing I like is that you're holding yourself accountable. You know what I mean? A lot of times that's the hardest part for people, is to hold themselves accountable to what they say they're going to do. I love that you're holding yourself accountable, man. So talk to me a little bit about, as you've been on this journey, what is it that you've learned about yourself?
What I learned about myself is I can do way more than what I thought I can do.
Talk.
I was closed-minded, and even now I'm realizing that, I don't know everything. I need to keep learning. Yes, I experienced some level of success, but I need to keep going. So even behind me right now, I collect Wheaties boxes of the different champions, as you can see, people like Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, LeBron James, Serena Williams, to remind me, look, these were people who are at the top of their game. They're considered the best of the best. But if you ask LeBron will say, look, I train year round. I do everything that I can to make myself better, versus just being complacent, because complacency, and I've done this multiple times, complacency is the enemy to my destiny. And my destiny is huge. So that's why I have to constantly continue to push myself in different areas, and, and growing, reading different things. Matter of fact, you gave me an idea, not an idea for a book, but you gave me a book that I should read, different stuff like that, because I don't know everything, and being humble enough to realize I don't know everything as well. That's helped me grow a lot.
Talk to me about mindset. How do you recommend people get into a positive mindset? Because it seems like every week I'm running into someone who's like, man, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what I want to do now. I don't know where to go. I don't know how to move. Talk to people about getting that mindset right in order for them to move forward.
Mindset. Okay. Well, first of all, I would say, number one, and this is just what works for me, you must have some type of prayer life. To where you're not just giving God your demands and praying for this, praying for that, or God help me this, help me for that. No, prayer is not a dialogue. It's a monologue. Excuse me. It's a monologue. Messed it up. It's not a monologue. It's a dialogue. There we go. To where, you talk, God listens, and then he responds. And then when God is talking, you listen and you respond. I even created a whole prayer journal. That is one thing to where, I'll write down what I feel like I heard, and then I'll go out and act it out. But I say all of that as a foundation for mindset, because with everything going on in this world, let's call it for what it is, we are two Black men in the United States of America. And this country has not been the best to people who look like you and I.
Correct.
So with that being said, with knowing that if we're not grounded in a certain mindset of, look, God is my strength, God is my fortress, and being around people, because it's one thing to say, hey, I know God, cool, great, and you're praying and all of that, but being around certain people who think like you or who think greater than you, which I think is a good balance to have both. That's one thing that really, really helped me constantly keep the positive mindset. Also, therapy. I've gone to therapy multiple times. I think that's super duper important. And as a Black man in America, I think therapy is one thing that we downplay too much. And that's something that we need, because too many times we need to express ourselves, but we were taught just, be strong, suck up them tears. Men don't cry. What you crying for? You ain't no punk. What's wrong with you? No, if you hurt, say you hurt, and verbally express that. Otherwise, you'll be like a volcano, just having all that built up frustration, just keep building up, and then boom, you go off on somebody, and then something crazy happens. So that's one thing, which is through therapy. And also I'm making sure literally on a daily basis, I'm listening to somebody who know more than me, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a sermon. I know one guy in particular, he's deceased now, bless his soul, a gentleman by the name of Stephen Darby. I listen to a lot of his messages, and, that helps me keep my mind right for what's going on every single day as, a Black man in America.
Listen, I love it, man. Talk to me about just a little bit about some of your biggest challenges you've had to overcome in the entrepreneurial space.
The biggest challenge I had to overcome, hands down, in which I'm still, making the choice to overcome it daily, is sticking to a schedule. That's been the hardest thing, because after leaving corporate America, in which it was strict, AT&T, if you were 2 minutes late, you could get fired. Literally, just 2 minutes. They don't care about traffic, none of that. And I live in Atlanta, and we had the third worst traffic in the nation. They didn't care nothing about that. So I was being strict to a schedule. But then now stepping out into entrepreneurship and just kind of like, ooh, I'm out of prison. And now, I can create my own schedule, wake up when I want to. Like it was kind of making me, I don't want to use the word lazy, but complacent is the best thing that I could say. Because I know, look, I got orders come in, I like eating good and having nice things. So I know the money has to flow through. So I would get up and knock out those orders, but then there were certain times to where like I would procrastinate on doing stuff like the course. I procrastinated on coaching in the beginning. I procrastinated on launching a few different businesses that I have. I procrastinated on even things like joining the Wealth 100, which was probably one of the dumbest procrastination things that I could have ever done, because literally, and you can use this as an advertisement if you want to, the week that I joined the Wealth 100, I launched a business and started making over $1,600 a month in cash flow without me hardly doing any work, because one of the brothers there, which happened to be one of your relatives, talked about a business that he launched, and then boom, I talked to him, got that idea, and we bounce ideas off each other. He doing e-commerce, me doing the business that he did, and here we go. We scratched each other's backs. So my expertise helped him, his expertise helped me, and I've been cash flowing ever since.
And that's the importance for people to understand, the importance of getting into a room where people are doing other things besides what you're doing, because you oftentimes get stuck in what you do. I do what I do, but you don't know nothing. You don't know anything about 1,000 other things that are going on out here, man. So again, I thank you for reiterating the importance of getting into the room. Talk to me about what your mission in life is. We're getting ready to close out in a minute. Talk to me about what you believe your mission in life to be.
My mission in life is to help people understand who they are, mainly us Black and brown folk. And here's what I mean by that. We are the people who have been dealt with the worst in the world. And with us just understanding who we are as the people and the children of God, I feel like with me helping somebody know that, they will think differently. They'll act differently. So part of what I want to do is help people get out of the slavery of corporate America. That's what I feel like is one of the main things that God has put inside of me to help launch people or help people to launch themselves and to get out of corporate America. I love to say I retire people out of their day jobs. And I truly believe that that's one of the missions that God gave me for my life. Also, pouring back into people through different mentorships, through, just using the best way I can word it scripturally. And, Jesus said it, or Yeshua, depending on how you want to word on the day, occupy until I come. I know that's definitely one of my missions. So I believe in going out, occupying, gaining wealth, gaining knowledge, and helping other people gain wealth and knowledge and be self-sufficient so that we don't have to depend on our government for anything. That's something that's super duper important to me and my family, my household. And I'll say this one last thing, wealth, not just wealth, health wealth. So being wealthy in your health. In which, a lot of people who know me, I became vegan a little over a year ago, which I won't go into that now. I'll leave that alone. I won't dive into that. But, just helping people just to be able to sustain and live a long life. And part of it is, being able to eat the right stuff. And I feel like God put all of these visions and dreams and goals into me so that I can pour into the next person. That's part of the reason why I not only do coaching with my business, but I also do, coaching at the local schools, because that gives me an out and an avenue to pour into those young men and women as well.
Talk to me a little bit about, before we close out, where do you see the business in the next 3 to 5 years, Eric?
Next 3 to 5 years, just with Elite E-commerce coaching, we will continue to travel the world, not just through North America. We will do seminars. We will be able to my vision is to have at least 100,000 self-sufficient entrepreneurs who don't have to depend on any job, and they're able to build wealth for not just themselves, but for their family. With Elite E-commerce coaching, I also will have different mentorships, and it will help people, just like through the Wealth 100, launch other businesses. Because even though e-commerce was like the foundation business, me and my wife, we have some 6 or 7 other businesses now that we have launched from the profits that we made through me selling on Amazon.
Gotcha.
So that's what I see within the next few years, being an influencer, a bigger influencer on social media. I'm looking to gain 1 million followers, and I don't know, it's a goal for me, not for pride, but just so that I can have the audience to be able to pour out what God has given to me. I know right now, a little under 22,000. By the way, I've been growing because I've been getting in front of the camera, like you said, and talking to people,
listening to me.
I've been growing. Yes, sir.
I love it. Listen, guys.
So that's why I see the business in the next few years.
Listen, we're getting ready to wrap up, man. I want to thank you, Coach Eric Neal out of Atlanta, Georgia, for coming in and talking to my audience today. Listen, guys, remember, particularly if you're in the Atlanta market, June 24th, June 25th this year, we will be there. Coach Neal will be training on how to get into the Amazon marketplace, the Walmart marketplace. We'll be there, the Wealth 100 Mastermind. You might want to find out why you need to be in a mastermind. Be at the Wealth 100, June 24th, June 25th, Atlanta, Georgia. Listen, Eric, man, I want to thank you for joining us today. Tell the people where they can find you on social, and we're going to get out of here, brother.
All right. And thank you again for having me so much, man. It's such an honor. And I know some people say that, but I don't say that lightly. It is a complete honor to be able to get on a platform with you, Mr. Gilmore. I know I call you the great Reverend Dr. Gilmore.
You need to stop.
So thank you for that. You guys can find me on social media through Instagram mainly, in which if you type in Coach Eric, ERIC Neal, I will pop right up. You can't miss me. So Coach Eric Neal. Also on Facebook, if you send me a friend request, or you can also follow me on Facebook. If you type in Eric Neal Atlanta, you'll see my picture. You'll see my profile. It's me. You can't miss me. So that's where you guys can find me. And you can also find me at the top. I'll be at the top.
Talk to him, not the top. I love it. Listen, guys, we thank you for tuning in to the Wealth 100. Eric, we thank you again. We'll see you later. Peace.
All right. Thank you, sir. You have a good day.
Yes, sir. Thank you for tuning in to the Wealth 100 show. Today's show has been sponsored by the Wealth 100 Mastermind. If you're ready to join a tribe of winners, if you want to be a part of the best mastermind on the planet, go to thewealth100.com right now and apply. I need you to get into the room right now, guys. Let's go. Thewealth100.com.